My wife, Chloe, had been acting strangely for a while. A little digging revealed the ghost of her past was far from gone. She was still tangled up with her ex-boyfriend. Seeing her so hung up on an old flame that she could barely touch her food, a thought crossed my mind. To spare her any more misery, perhaps I should be the one to step aside. I'd just take my assets with me when I left. The final straw was discovering she had her ex saved in her phone as Hubby. That was a line I couldn't unsee. And the audacity of it all. After the divorce, she had the nerve to come back, crying and begging for my forgiveness. I wasn't interested in a role in her melodrama. My dear, let's go our separate ways. I truly want you to find your happiness. We didn't have children yet. It was better to make a clean break, to grant us both our freedom. I was done with this daily soap opera of suspicion and potential betrayal. What are you talking about? There's nothing going on between Leo and me, she insisted. I tried to keep my voice even, my composure intact, but it was difficult. Before me stood Chloe, her clothes in disarray, while in the very same room, Leo sat on the bed, shirtless. How could she look me in the eye and say nothing is going on? I wasn't going to wear the horns of a cuckold. Let someone else play that part. I turned and walked away. The moment I stepped out the door, Chloe came running after me. Ethan, don't go. You chased me for a whole year before I even reluctantly said yes. Even if I made one mistake, can't you find it in your heart to forgive me just this once? Her indignant tone was so astounding I almost applauded. Just one mistake? Did she really think I was that naive? I'm tired, Chloe. I wish you all the happiness in the world. I want to know more entanglements. She chose me, after all, because I could provide a lifestyle her precious Leo couldn't. It was as simple and as ugly as that. Chloe didn't come home that night. I had the divorce papers drawn up immediately. Ethan, what is the meaning of this? How dare you freeze my credit cards? She finally contacted me 2 days later, her voice shrill with fury. Her lifeline to my bank account had been severed. Have you checked the company's finances lately? Do you have any idea how much money is left? I was certain she had already tried hitting up the company's CFO before calling me. I don't care. Wire me money right now, or you'll lose me forever. It was clear she wouldn't believe a word I said. The next day, she stormed into my office, ready for a showdown. This is it. The company is really going under. Have you found a new job yet? The moment Chloe stepped into the building, she overheard employees gossiping about their next career moves and saw others packing their desks. Without hesitation, she kicked open my office door. My assistant, seeing the thunder on her face, wisely made himself scarce. Ethan, what kind of game are you playing? You wouldn't sink your own company just to divorce me, would you? Of course I would. But I couldn't let her know the truth. After all these years, you know how I've treated you, don't you? When you wanted to dance, I was the one holding your drink. Acting was a skill we both possessed. It was just a matter of who was more convincing. My goal was simple: make Chloe believe I was utterly bankrupt. Here, I said, pulling a single bank card from my pocket. This is all I have left to my name. Chloe stared at the card, momentarily stunned. I'm over 300 million in debt this time. I can't bear to see you suffer with me. The mention of such a staggering sum made her instinctively take 2 steps back. It was then that I slid the divorce papers across the desk. She hesitated for a moment, but then her phone buzzed. The screen lit up with a call from Hubby. My heart turned to ice. Chloe's hesitation vanished. She snatched a pen and signed her name with a flourish. Don't blame me for being heartless, Ethan. From now on, we go our separate ways. Don't come looking for me, even if you end up begging on the streets. With that, she turned and walked out without a backward glance. Even knowing she never loved me, her decisiveness still left a hollow ache in my chest. Mr. Hayes, the contracts for the new corporation are signed. When do we move to the new offices? My assistant asked, breaking the silence. The company shutting down? Not a chance. I was merely expanding, moving the entire operation to a bigger, better location. As for why I orchestrated this whole elaborate scheme to divorce Chloe, it all started a month ago. A message notification popped up on her phone, and I caught a glimpse of the sender, Hubby. Further investigation revealed she had been secretly meeting with her ex, rekindling their old flame. Spending my money to have a good time with him? I scoffed to myself. She was about to learn that my money didn't come without consequences. Mr. Hayes, here is the file you requested. My assistant placed a folder on my desk. I was curious why Chloe and Leo had broken up in the first place. I opened the file and almost laughed out loud. It was exactly as I had suspected. Leo had been penniless, unable to give Chloe the lavish life she craved, so she had set her sights on me. Proceed with the plan. You have full authority on this matter, I said, tossing the file into the trash, a smirk playing on my lips. Chloe had secretly funneled several million from me to Leo for a startup venture. I was morbidly curious to see how long his little business would last. With all the pieces in place, I decided it was time for a long overdue vacation. I had been naive, believing that if I just worked hard enough, Chloe would stand by me. About 6 months later, I returned from my travels, renewed. It was then that I unexpectedly met her, the one who would change everything. Ethan, I'm so sorry. I was so selfish before. Please, can you give me another chance? It was my first day back at the new office. I had just stepped out of my car when a figure blocked my path. I looked closer and saw. It was Chloe. Her appearance was shocking. Her face was gaunt, her clothes were worn, and the vibrant woman I once knew was gone. I'm sorry, but I'm married now. I had given her everything she wanted. She claimed to be chasing true love, and I had personally escorted her back to her first love's arms. No, you can't be married. You love me. You told me how much you loved me. Chloe seemed unable to process the news. Yes, I had loved her once, deeply. But how had she repaid that love? The irony was bitter. I had no desire to get dragged back into her drama. My assistant understood immediately and stepped between us, blocking her. Ethan, I won't let you love anyone else. You can only love me, she shrieked from behind him. I knew she wouldn't give up easily, but I never anticipated her level of insanity. She began stalking me, taking pictures of my wife and me during our private moments and posting them online, painting my new wife as a homewrecker. Isn't that the CEO of that newly listed company? I can't believe he's such a monster. Shameless scum. Both of them should just die. The online comments were vicious, and it got to the point where my wife, Sophia, was afraid to leave the house. Chloe, it seemed, was only now realizing the golden goose she had let go. You liar, Ethan. Why did you lie to me? Having found the address of my new company, Chloe caused a massive scene at the entrance, screaming and refusing to leave. You were the one who cheated, who claimed you were in love with Leo. I let you go find your happiness. I reminded her, my voice cold. How is any of this my fault? You tricked me into a divorce. You lied about the company going bankrupt. Half of those assets should have been mine, she yelled, conveniently omitting her own transgressions. The company did go under, I said calmly. But starting over and succeeding again was always part of the plan. A plan that no longer involves you. Now, if you don't leave, I will call the police. Any feeling I once had for Chloe had evaporated the moment she betrayed me. I had held back for so long, curious to see where the path she chose would lead. Ethan, can you really be so cruel? Have you forgotten you promised to take care of me for the rest of my life? The threat of the police made her change her tune. She lunged for me, but security guards intervened. If it weren't for her familiar face, I would never have believed this desperate woman was the person I once loved. You made your choice. Now live with it. Stop making trouble for yourself. I turned and went back inside, instructing security to call the authorities if she persisted. Getting nowhere with me, Chloe doubled down on her online campaign. She flooded social media with old, intimate photos of us, accompanied by screenshots of my past declarations of love. The public reaction was a circus, with some even encouraging her to fight for her happiness. And so, she went to confront my wife. I don't know what Sophia said to her, but by the time I rushed over after getting the news, Chloe was gone. I'm so sorry. I should have handled this better. I told Sophia, my heart aching that she was dragged into this mess. I chose to be with you, she said, her voice firm and reassuring. I was prepared for anything. Some things in life are more complicated than simple right and wrong. Hearing her words, I realized that when you're with the right person, emotional turmoil doesn't have to be a constant battle. The next day, it wasn't Chloe who showed up, but Leo. You slept with my wife for a year. Don't you think you owe me some compensation for that? His words, spoken loudly in the company lobby, were so absurd I was momentarily speechless. Onlookers immediately began to whisper. Wow, I never would have guessed. Mr. Hayes sleeps with other men's wives. He seems so respectable. What a scumbag. Hearing the murmurs, Leo grew bolder. The past is the past, but you can't expect to have used my wife for free. 1 million a year seems fair. That's a good deal. He looked at me smugly, as if he had me trapped. This was the man Chloe had yearned for, the man she had thrown our marriage away for? This pathetic opportunist? File a lawsuit. Call the police. This is extortion and slander. The recent events had disrupted my life, and With the company's public listing, I needed to protect our reputation. I had initially let it slide, thinking any publicity was good publicity, but this had gone too far. What do you mean? Am I not speaking the truth? Leo stammered, caught off guard by my immediate escalation. We'll let the court decide what the truth is. I turned to walk away. Wait, Ethan, he called out, grabbing my arm. 1 million, and you can have Chloe back. Gasps rippled through the lobby. He's selling his own wife? 1 million? For second-hand goods. The crowd's derision seemed to make Leo shrink. Not interested, I said flatly. I was no longer the fool blinded by love. Leo hadn't expected me to call his bluff. Soon, he was served with a notice from my lawyers. He was given a chance to settle out of court. I refused. People like him didn't deserve leniency. Smack. It's all your fault. You useless tramp. Slept with him for so long and couldn't even get a cent out of it. Leo deliberately staged a scene in front of me, brutally slapping Chloe across the face. If I go to jail, you're not getting off easy either. Go and get Ethan to drop the lawsuit, he snarled, punctuating his words with a vicious kick that sent her sprawling to her knees at my feet. She looked up at me, a pitiful sight, and shuffled forward, reaching for the leg of my pants. Excuse me, I said, stepping back and addressing the court mediator who had just arrived. I repeat, I refuse to settle. Let's proceed to trial immediately. Ethan, don't push your luck. You piss me off, and we'll all go down together. Leo raged. Did he really think threats would work on me? Did you hear that? He's making a direct threat in front of a court official. I want to add that to the lawsuit. My personal safety is being threatened. I had no more words for scum like him. The trial was swift. First, the court established that Leo and Chloe had been having an affair during our marriage. Second, Chloe had transferred over $3 million of my money to him during that time. And finally, for moral damages, defamation, and extortion, they were ordered to repay the $3 million, plus an additional $1 million in compensation. Leo was also sentenced to 3 months in prison for his other charges. The total they owed was $5 million. After the verdict, Chloe was waiting for me outside the courthouse. Ethan, please, don't abandon me. Please, she begged, her eyes swollen from crying. We have no relationship anymore, Chloe. What do you hope to achieve by constantly harassing me? I had been clear from the beginning. She chose her so-called true love. Did she now expect my pity? I was wrong. He's not good to me. Once the money ran out, he started humiliating me, hitting me. It's a daily occurrence. She sobbed, claiming she had made a mistake, but her regret only stemmed from the fact that her new life wasn't the paradise she'd imagined. We both have our own lives now. Let it go. It wasn't that I was heartless, but I had given her too many chances. I had been hurt too deeply, and I refused to walk back into that fire. No matter how much she cried or pleaded that day, I walked away without a second thought. Is it because of her, Ethan? Is that why you don't want me anymore? For a while, I thought life had returned to normal. Then, one evening, while Sophia and I were having dinner, Chloe burst into the restaurant in a frenzy. Will you ever stop? I snapped, pulling Sophia behind me protectively. Seeing this, Chloe became even more unhinged. You said you would love me forever. You swore you would only ever be good to me, she shrieked, drawing the attention of the entire restaurant. People started whispering, assuming I was a two-timing cheat. Poor woman, to be with such a scumbag. That other woman doesn't look like much either. Just as I was about to defend Sophia, she stepped forward. Miss, you were the one who had an affair. You were the one who said you were leaving to pursue true love. Ethan respected your choice, and it took him half a year to recover. What exactly do you want now? Her words silenced the room. And now that things aren't going well, you suddenly remember how good Ethan was to you. Sophia pressed, her voice clear and strong. Chloe was speechless. This has nothing to do with you. If it weren't for you, Ethan and I would have already gotten back together, she finally spat, turning her venom on Sophia. Even if every other person on this planet disappeared, I would not choose you, I said, my voice leaving no room for argument. Did she think I was some pushover? Ethan, I know I was wrong. Just give me one more chance. I promise I'll love you with all my heart, she pleaded, rushing forward to grab my arm, her eyes welling up with tears. It meant nothing. I pulled my arm away. Stop harassing me. Have some dignity, I said, keeping my voice low. I didn't want to cause a scene and embarrass myself because of her shamelessness. We left dinner early. Sophia's understanding only made me feel guiltier. Knowing Chloe wouldn't stop, I took preemptive action and hired A lawyer to officially pursue the $5 million she owed me. The constant pressure from debt collectors kept her too busy to bother me. For 2 days, there was peace. Then, she escalated things again. Sophia and I were about to head out for the evening when a call came from the police. We rushed to an old apartment building to find Chloe standing on the roof. "Don't come any closer. The only way you two can be happy is if I'm dead," she screamed when she saw us. I stayed back, standing quietly behind the police line. I had already explained the entire situation to them on the way over. "Ethan, I was wrong. Do I have to die for you to forgive me?" she cried out, trying to guilt-trip me with her public spectacle. "I heard he cheated on her. That's why she's doing this. What a jerk, bringing his new girlfriend to provoke her. That's practically murder." Bystanders, some even live-streaming for clicks, offered their uninformed opinions. "Jump. What are you waiting for? You've been up there for 2 hours," someone from the crowd below shouted impatiently. "Is that even high enough to kill someone? It's only 5 stories." I realized then that this was a rundown building in a poor neighborhood. Leo must have burned through all the money. Chloe wasn't trying to die. She was trying to force my hand. The crowd's heckling made her position awkward. "Ethan, I just need one word from you," she yelled, putting the ball back in my court. "Of course you can't die," I called back, my voice clear and steady. "You and your husband still owe me $5 million. My statement sent a ripple through the crowd. "Wait, she has a husband? Then why is she harassing this guy? This is juicy. A rich CEO in love with a married woman." Chloe had always been proud, but the last 6 months with Leo had worn her down. She didn't care about face anymore. "Ethan, are you really that heartless?" she screamed, and then pretended to jump, causing the crowd to gasp. Whether she was startled or her foot slipped, she fell from the ledge, landing squarely on the inflatable safety cushion the firefighters had set up below. The police took her to the hospital, but apparently, the fall had addled her brain. She refused any medical examination unless I came to see her. "I'm sorry, but I am under no obligation to waste my time on Miss Bai's theatrics," I told the officer on the phone. "This had nothing to do with me. I was the victim here." "Mr. Hayes, how does it feel knowing your ex-wife is calling your name from her hospital bed?" I couldn't believe her nerve. She had actually called the press. "You haven't visited her since her suicide attempt. Do you have anything you want to say to Miss Bai?" a reporter asked, shoving a microphone in my face. "Shut your mouth," my assistant barked, stepping in front of me. "If you haven't done your homework, don't spew nonsense here. The law doesn't take kindly to slander." The reporters backed off a bit. They were after a headline, not a lawsuit. When Chloe saw her antics weren't working, she fumed and refused to be discharged, likely because she couldn't afford the bill. I remained unmoved. Eventually, she had to borrow money to pay for her release, and she had the audacity to use my name on the IOU. I had to laugh when one of her creditors showed up at my door. "We've been divorced for almost a year. How is this my problem?" I asked the men blocking my way. "She's your ex-wife. One of you can pay it back," one of them grunted. "Yeah, we hear you're a big-shot CEO. This is pocket change for you, right?" Another one sneered. Their attempt at intimidation was pathetic compared to Chloe's shamelessness. "I'm not as generous as you. Do you go around paying off all your ex's debts?" I retorted with a smile. "You should be looking for her husband. We can't find them. Besides, a bond forged in marriage lasts a lifetime," they argued. "I don't know about any bond, but I do know about the principle of the debtor pays the debt. If you don't understand that, I can have someone explain it to you." At the mention of calling the police, they scattered. "Ethan, what do I have to do for you to forgive me?" One rainy evening, she appeared outside my building like a drenched specter, muttering nonsense. "Chloe, what do I have to do for you to leave me alone?" I countered, exhausted. I had shown her as much mercy as I could. Why couldn't she just let go? "I just want us to start over." "Is that so hard?" "Start over?" Life wasn't a video game with a reset button. Pestering and pleading were useless. "Ethan, I was wrong. I really was. Just this once, please." Soaked to the bone, her thin summer dress clinging to her, she grabbed my hand and tried to press it against her chest. I snatched my hand back as if I'd been burned. "It's not like you haven't touched me before," she said with a seductive smile, staggering slightly. "I just want you to know you're still in my heart." I backed away as she moved closer. "If you continue this, don't blame me for being truly heartless." I left her standing in the rain. This time, she didn't follow. I thought, for a moment, she had finally understood. I was wrong. Her new tactic was, if I can't have him, I'll destroy him. I'm not sure how long she tailed me. One night, after a business dinner, I was a bit drunk. As I opened my front door, a shadow darted inside. My head was spinning, and I couldn't see who it was. I woke up the next morning naked in my bed with no memory of what happened after I got home. I remembered my assistant, Lucas, dropping me off. I remembered entering the apartment and getting a glass of water. Then, the shadow. A frantic search of the apartment revealed some cash was missing. I called the police and reported a break-in. Before they could even begin investigating, I received a text message with several photos attached. They were naked pictures of me. Do as I say, or these go public. The final message was almost comical. I knew instantly who was behind it. I was wondering how to get rid of her for good, and she had just walked right into my trap. I didn't reply. I just called the police again. Connecting the two incidents, the police quickly found a lead. Chloe, however, must have been tipped off because she was gone by the time they arrived. The few thousand she stole would last her a while if she was careful. But a strange pattern emerged. Every time the police closed in, she would narrowly escape. 3 months later, Leo was released from prison. We thought we could track him to find her, but we underestimated them. Not only did Leo lose our tail, but Chloe vanished completely. Then came one last text. You forced me to do this, Ethan. You made me live like a rat. If I can't be happy, neither can you. I knew what was coming. She was going to try and ruin me. But this time, the police were ready. Before she could release the photos, they apprehended her. You bastard, Ethan. I'll haunt you even as a ghost, she screamed when she saw me. Her words no longer pleas but curses. Watching them take her away, I finally felt a sense of relief. But just when I thought life could return to normal, I noticed Leo acting strangely. He would just stand at a distance, staring at me with an odd expression. He never did anything, so there was nothing I could do. Mr. Hayes, we just got word. Chloe escaped from custody. My first thought was, is she coming for me again? A few quiet days passed. Then I saw Leo from a distance again, but this time he made a subtle gesture to someone I couldn't see. They were plotting something. Ethan, it's terrible. Sophia is missing. The call came from her frantic parents. She had vanished. I immediately contacted the police, providing them with my suspicions. But Chloe and Leo were like ghosts. On the third day, a message arrived. You love your little sweetheart so much, don't you? I don't want your love anymore. I want 50 million. I forwarded the message to the police. To keep them talking, I pretended to agree to their demands, asking for proof that Sophia was unharmed. Their reply allowed the police to pinpoint their location. With a hostage involved, we had to be cautious. Getting 50 million in cash takes time to arrange. I texted back, trying to buy time. Can we talk while I sort it out? She replied with only an address. Come alone. No police. I went, of course, but not as alone as they thought. I found them in a dilapidated house in the middle of nowhere. Well, you really do care about your new girlfriend, don't you? Chloe sneered, her voice dripping with jealousy. Why are you doing this, Chloe? Why? She let out a harsh laugh. I begged you, Ethan. Did you ever once listen to me? Her eyes were filled with pure hatred. You want her back? Fine. Trade places with her. And bring the money. Leo objected, and they argued until Chloe whispered something that made him acquiesce. What's wrong? Don't you love her? Can't you do this one little thing for her? Chloe taunted. This time, she hit a nerve. Fine. I agree. Now let Sophia go. My phone was already tracking my location. If I went with them, the police would find their hideout. They weren't taking any chances this time. They confiscated my phone and threw it away. They led me through a maze of back alleys to a dark, damp basement. Sophia was there, but Chloe had changed the deal. They tied us both up. Even without my phone, I had a backup. The police had hidden a micro-tracker in the seam of my jacket. Where is the 50 million? Chloe demanded after a day of waiting. She told me to call my assistant. For some reason, the call wouldn't go through. I told you that guy was unreliable last time, Leo started to say before Chloe clamped a hand over his mouth. A new secret? What are you scared of? We have them both. Did you actually fall for that little assistant? Leo shot back, shaking off her hand. I watched them bicker, my face a mask of calm. Fine, I'll tell him, Chloe said, turning to me with a triumphant smirk. Want to know why I was always one step ahead of the police? I seduced your little assistant, Lucas. He was my informant. To hear her speak of it so casually, without a shred of shame, was astounding. And Leo just stood there, unbothered. Is that something to be proud of? I asked softly. And I'll tell you something else. Right now, Lucas has your 50 million, and he's long gone. They expected me to panic, to break down. My continued calm seemed to infuriate them. Leo lunged forward and kicked me hard in the ribs. Stop pretending you're so cool. I've done time before, I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty and finish you both off, he snarled, kicking me again and again. Sophia threw herself over me, begging him to stop. Look at the happy couple, Leo mocked, a vile idea forming in his eyes. So sweet. I wonder if Ethan will still love you so much after you've been dirted. He lunged for Sophia. The look of terror on my face made him roar with laughter. But Chloe, surprisingly, pulled him back. You get to sleep with so many men. Why can't I have a little fun? Leo yelled at her. It turned out that after the money ran out, Leo had forced Chloe into prostitution to support them. The mention of it was a sore spot, and they erupted into a screaming match. While they were distracted, Sophia and I managed to loosen our ropes. We made a break for it. The movement would activate the tracker, alerting the police. But the maze of alleys was disorienting, and our captors knew the area far too well. They cornered us quickly. Do you want to know what Lucas is doing with your $50 million right now? I asked, trying to stall. Shut up. Money or your lives? I don't care anymore. Leo growled, advancing on us with a long knife. Don't worry, Sophia whispered to me. I have a plan. I was stunned by her composure. You want money? We can get it. Just let us go, she said calmly to our captors. I had known her family was well off since we met abroad, but I never realized she was part of the renowned Harrison family of our city. All right, you have 2 hours. 1 minute late, and I start cutting off fingers, Chloe said, her eyes burning with a murderous envy as she looked at Sophia. We huddled together, whispering our plan. Chloe handed Sophia a phone. She made a quick, cryptic call. I think we can take them, Sophia whispered to me suddenly. It's 2 against 2. The idea was reckless, but her confidence was infectious. Just a few feet away, I spotted a heavy metal pipe. Chloe, honestly, I have to know, I said, standing up to create a diversion. Did you ever, for even a moment, truly love me? Love? She cackled. You're still so naive, Ethan. I only ever loved your bank account. As I absorbed her final, predictable confession, Sophia moved like lightning, grabbing the pipe. Leo charged with his knife. To my utter shock, Sophia met his attack with a series of skilled blocks and strikes. She knew how to fight. You have to let them play out the whole drama, she said with a wry grin when she saw my expression. Suddenly, this wasn't so terrifying. With the tables turned, we quickly gained the upper hand. Just then, sirens wailed in the distance. The police swarmed the area, and this time, there was no escape for Chloe and Leo. 3 days later, they caught Lucas at the airport, trying to flee the country. He looked shocked to see me. I knew what you were doing for a while, Lucas. I was just giving you a chance to do the right thing, I told him. It was a failure on my part. I had trusted him completely. When did you know? He asked, defeated. The night I was drunk. The glass of water you gave me. I never lose consciousness completely, but I did that night. When I asked you about it the next day, you lied. He had drugged me for Chloe. She threatened me, he confessed. She had pictures of me. She was going to send them to my fiancé. It turned out his fiancée was 3 months pregnant. He did it all out of fear. But a wrong act is a wrong act, and he had to face the consequences. The $50 million was recovered. Justice was served. When are we getting married? Sophia asked me one evening. After everything we had been through, the question filled me with both joy and a sliver of doubt. The daughter of a titan of industry, and me, a divorce. Don't worry, she said, reading my mind. I told my parents about you the day we started dating. And my dad has actually met you. My heart skipped a beat. Met me? When? Had I made a good impression? Her burst of laughter told me she was teasing. 2 months later, we were married. Not long after, Sophia was pregnant, and I was overwhelmed with the joy of becoming a father. My story had finally, truly, come to an end.